again. Well, I'm sure many of you, like me, are guilty of overpacking for a cruise, but I'm really trying to scale back. And so here are some things I no longer pack for a cruise. Stay tuned, let's talk about it. In my last video, I talked about my goal of wanting to pack in carry-on only for our next cruise, and I tested out a couple of suitcases for that. And that got me thinking about what are some things that I used to bring on cruises, even as recently as our past cruise, that I'm not going to be packing anymore. So starting off with a foldable hamper, I'll put a picture up here of what I'm talking about. And I know a lot of people bring these on cruises. And I did one time and I realized it really wasn't for me. So, one, even though it does fold down pretty flat, I do think it still takes up room. And then what are you going to do with all the clothes you threw in there? And then at the end of the cruise, you just have to pack all those clothes away anyway. So for me, it kind of defeats the purpose. So what I bring instead is just a mesh bag, kind of like this, folds down to pretty much nothing. And the only thing I put in here is like dirty socks and underwear. And then those go right in the packing cube where my socks and underwear were. Everything else, once I wear it, I fold it up and I put it in a packing cube. And to me, this just saves on time and space. Next up is beach towels. Now, I know on my first cruise that I took, and maybe my first couple of cruises, I did bring a beach towel from home. I don't recall beach towels being as readily available on those cruises as they are now. So this is definitely something that you don't need to pack because the cruise line has them. You just check them out and return them, and you can get really as many as you need during the course of your cruise. The next item I no longer pack for a cruise is a really kind of formal gown. I know on the first couple of cruises I took, and the first one was over 20 years ago, that's something that was pretty standard, right? You can see men in tuxedos and women in gowns. I was trying to find a picture that I had from that very first cruise, and I'm in a full-length gown. It's packed in a box somewhere. I couldn't put my hands on it. But that's definitely something you don't need to do anymore. Now, certainly, if you want to, you can, but I think you'll probably be in the minority. Now what I do is I do pack like a slightly dressier dress, but definitely would not be considered formal. Well, a common complaint about cruise cabins is there's never enough outlets. And so we, along with a lot of people, do bring kind of an extension cord with multiple outlets. And while that definitely serves the purpose, I did find, especially on our last cruise, that it really took up valuable space on the little desk area. So, what we're going to do for our next cruise and future cruises is purchase kind of a power cube like this that has both the regular plug as well as the USB outlets. You can even buy those that fit into the European socket to convert that. I know the voltage can be different with that, so you do have to be careful what you plug in there. But the beauty of these cubes is that they don't take up valuable surface space. So that's what we're going to be packing for our future cruises. Just a side note on the extension cord with the multiple outlets. If you are someone that needs to use a CPAP machine, that may be something you need to use, especially if there aren't outlets directly by the bed, which on many ships there are not. So that's the one exception. So something I used to bring on every cruise was a highlighter. Now I know it doesn't take up much space in the suitcase, and I used to use that to highlight the activities that we would be interested in doing in the kind of daily guide that they give you. But nowadays, there are the apps. All the cruise lines have their own app, and those have all the activities for the day. So that's something I'll no longer be bringing. All right, something near and dear to my heart is next, and that is protein bars. I am a protein bar girl. I have a protein bar pretty much every morning for breakfast. And when I travel for work and past cruises, I always bring them. And my line of thinking with that is, oh, it's just a quick breakfast, right? If we need to get up early for an excursion and don't want to go to the dining room or the buffet for breakfast, I'll just have a protein bar. But the reality is, when we're on a cruise, we like taking that time to go to the dining room, and we definitely prefer the dining room over the buffet for breakfast because it's just a little luxury that we don't have in our everyday lives. So, on our next cruise, I'm going to leave the protein bars at home. This next item is something that's very specific to me and something I've always packed on all of my cruises is multiple swimsuits. But through the years, I've discovered that I really don't need to have multiple because I'm not someone who's in the pool every day or laying out in the sun. I might do that for a half an hour one day, and then maybe I need a swimsuit if we're going to a beach or on a snorkeling excursion. But I just don't need multiple. Now, if you're someone that spends a lot of time on the pool deck, in the pools, in the hot tubs, you may want to bring multiple swimsuits so that you always have a dry one to put on. But for me, for future cruises, I'm bringing one swimsuit. This next item might be controversial because I do see it on a lot of cruisers' packing lists and listed as a must have item. But for me, I no longer bring a lanyard. You can put your sea pass or your cruise card in the lanyard and wear it around your neck, and that way you never lose your card. But for me, I don't like to wear things around my neck. It's even rare that I wear a necklace. And so for the last several years, I have purchased phone cases like this one that have a zipper compartment on the back and it has multiple places for cards. And so I don't even need to bring a wallet because I don't really carry cash that much anymore either. But I just put my CPAS card right in here and I always have it with me. All right, speaking of phones and phone cases, something I no longer bring on a cruise is a camera. Right? Technology has gotten so advanced with our smartphones, and the quality of the photographs is so great that you no longer really need a separate camera. Now, we are considering buying kind of a vlogging camera to use on our next cruise. I'm not sure if we're really going to pull the trigger on that, again, because our cell phone does such a great job. So we definitely save space by not packing an extra camera. All right, this last item might be a little controversial too because I see it on a lot of packing lists that are out there. But we no longer bring over the door shoe organizer. I'll put a picture up. And I know most people don't necessarily use it for shoes. They use it for toiletry items and other odds and ends. For us, it's just the two of us cruising. We don't really need that much extra storage space. And as cruise ships have evolved over the years, they really are providing a lot more storage options. So that's something we don't feel like we need to pack. It does take up a little bit of space in the suitcase. Now, the exception might be if you are traveling as a family, maybe there's 4 people in your cabin. I can see where you might run out of storage room and something like this could be helpful. But for us, we do fine with the amount of storage that's in the typical cruise cabin. So that's my list of things we will not be packing on future cruises. How about you? I would love to know, have you pared back your cruise packing? And what are some items that you no longer feel the need to bring on your cruise? Definitely comment below. Thank you so much as always for watching, and until next time, happy cruising.